So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the very basics of mixing. The idea between mixing two tracks together to give a seamless transition into the next song, keeping the energy on the dance floor going. At a very basic level, when we are playing two songs over the top of each other during the transition, we want them to be playing at the same speed. Now the way we measure the speed of a song is its BPM, beats per minute. So when you mix two tracks together, you want to make sure the BPM is the same. To change the BPM of a track, we use our pitch fader here, which allows us to accurately increase or decrease the BPM of a song to dial in the mix. Now if you're using a MIDI controller, you'll have a tool called the sync button. This will detect the BPM of each track and automatically adjust the pitch so the BPMs are the same. It basically does the work for you. For the rest of this video, I'm going to explain how to match the beats manually using the pitch faders to match the BPMs, but all the information still applies if you use the sync button. It's really important you have the understanding behind how to mix and the ability to take over and do it yourself, because the software will sometimes get it wrong, and it's an important skill to have if you ever find yourself mixing on something without a sync button. So I currently have two tracks loaded up onto my VMS 4.1. On the first deck we have a song from Machinima Sound called They Found Us. And on the second deck I just have a simple drum loop. So let's just play them and see what happens. Now you can hear that our drum loop on our second deck is starting to drift away from our song over here, and you get that galloping sound in the music because this track is at a different speed to this track. And the way we change this is by adjusting our pitch fader over here to change that BPM, so that both songs have exactly the same BPM and are effectively at the same speed. So when you increase the pitch fader, you speed up the track, increasing the BPM. When you decrease the pitch fader, you slow down the track, decreasing the BPM. The change of pitch is displayed as a percentage. Now the ability for you to listen to the music using your hearing and work out what you need to do with the pitch fader is a skill that will come over time. It's something that you learn through practicing. Practice makes perfect. So I can tell from listening to these two tracks that this deck here is running slightly slower than our song over here. So what I need to do is increase our pitch over here. So when you're mixing, you'll have your first track playing out your main speakers, and you'll have Q turned on your second deck. So then what you do is in your headphones, you play this track, and you ride the pitch fader up and down so that you can dial in the mix. Basically what you're doing is listening to the track and trying to dial in the BPM so they're running at the same speed. Listening to the track, counting the beats in the bar and trying to align them. This, again, is something that will just come over time. It takes a lot of practice, but when you get there, you'll be able to really easily match BPMs. So what I'm doing here is listening to the tracks and trying to work out what pitch adjustment I need to make. In my head, I'm counting the beats of the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's then a case of listening to the two tracks and working out which track is faster or slower than the other, and by how much. If, say, the track on the right deck is slightly slower, I have two options with what I can do. Either I increase the pitch on the right deck, or I can decrease the pitch on the left deck. So just by listening to the tracks, I know our drum loop here is slightly slower, so I'm going to increase the BPM and just ride the fader up and down to dial in the mix. Let's have a go. And I think I've just about lined those up. Now it's really important that you do your best to be accurate with your pitch fader. It's not a case of just lining up the track once, hitting play and then just letting it go. You need to be constantly listening to this track and making sure that it stays in time. Because even if you're ever so slightly out on your pitch, the song will ever so slowly just drift out of time and you'll end up with that galloping sound. So as the track is playing, as your mix is going on, you need to be adjusting the pitch, using your jog wheels here. You can increase the pitch or decrease the pitch as the track goes. This is like a bump, so a temporary increase or a temporary decrease in pitch. So you can really easily dial in the perfect mix and align the beats. Again, it's something that comes with practice, and just taking the time to constantly practice and learn how to mix with the pitch fader is really rewarding, and eventually you'll get to a point where you can just, like that, line up the beats of a track and perfectly dial in a mix. So as I'm riding up and down the pitch fader, I'm trying to align the beats to the track so it's perfectly in time, and also make sure that BPM is correct and they're going at the same speed. If you want a little help as you're starting to learn, you can look over at your software and you'll see the BPMs written on the software. So we can see here, They Found Us, the track is a 120 BPM song, while the drum loop I have here is 118 BPM. So you can use the software to get hints of what BPMs you need to do, but I don't suggest you stare at the software and perfectly match the numbers, because again, really that's the software doing it for you. You really should be riding the BPMs, listening, using your hearing, and working out exactly what you should do on the pitch. So now we have our songs perfectly beat matched, but we want to make sure they're in time. Now hopefully you have some basic music theory, it'll make things a lot easier. Most music you'll come across is in 4/4 time, which means that you count 4 beats per bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 4 beats in each bar. So what you want to do is align the first beat of this track with the first beat of this track. Let me show you what I mean. If I just drop the sound in anywhere, like this, 1, 2, 1, 2, they're slightly in time, but they're not aligned. The beats aren't lined up in the bars. It's not so noticeable when using a drum loop, but when you're using proper songs, it's really obvious that the beats are out of time. So to do this, again, it's important you have your cue points set up right, so you're cueing on the first beat of each bar. I'll have a video coming soon which goes into more detail about how to set up cue points and how to use hot cues. So let's get ready to drop in our drum beat over here. We're going to start this deck and we're going to be counting the beats in the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we're ready, we're going to drop in our drum loop on the first beat of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, we need to be listening to make sure our BPM is in time. We can use our jog wheel here to adjust to make sure the beats are in time with each other. So now our beats are lined up, we can fade out our first track and complete our seamless transition. You may find when you're beginning practicing that with most music there's a lot of other noise and rhythms in the track, which makes it difficult to match up the beats. If you go look in the description below, there's a download link to download the drum loops I was using in this video, and they're all available at various BPMs for you to match with tracks. So that's really it. This is the very basics of mixing. There'll be another video coming soon where I go through more techniques on mixing, including using your EQ to mix into tracks. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and any other video suggestions or mixing tutorials you want to hear, let me know in the comments. Also, if you could hit that like button, it'd be really awesome. It really helps me out. And as always, thanks for watching.